Good Tiger One, Stephen Wolf here, on the Stephen Gaming channel. And today is, marks, 80 years of, because, 80 years ago today, on the 6th of June, 1944, was, D-Day. Of course, it's like Operation Overlord. And of course, this was, a major turning point in World War II for the Western Allies at that time. Of, liberating, France from under German control, and much of, other German occupied territories, including the Low Countries and whatnot. So yeah, so 2 days after the Allies had captured Rome, even though that victory was short-lived, to dramatic events in west on the Western Front, which was D-Day, which was the invasion of Normandy on 5 beachheads, which the Americans were to take Utah and Omaha. The British and Canadians were to take Gold, Juno, and Sword beaches. The attack began on the 6th of June at near dusk of midnight, which the U.S. 82nd Division, landed, near St. Mary Glees on the first day. Of course, the Allied command was under the command of sorry. And of course, the U.S. the entire Allied force was under the command of Dwight Eisenhower, who was Allied Supreme Commander of the Allied Expeditionary Force. Much of the British forces was under command of Field Marshal Sir Bernard Law Montgomery. So yeah, which had 2 different task forces. So yeah, which comprised of many divisions, like the first U.S. First Division, which was under command of Courtney Hodges, which were at Omaha, which took merely hours to take. Of course, you had the U.S. 3rd Division under command of General Smith Patton Jr., which was part of the 12th Army Group. Of course, 21st Army Group was under command of Sir Bernard Law Montgomery. 12th Army Group was under command of course, Omar Bradley. Of course, 12th Army Group had, had mostly, like I said, Utah and Omaha beach sheds of Normandy up until Avranches. And 21st Army Group was to take, was to capture the city of Caen, which is, and is your parachute landings on either side of the River Orne. While the 101st was, deployed near, was airdropped near either side of the River Vere in their sector. Now, for the of course, the 1st Canadian Division was under command of Sir Miles Dempsey. Of course, they were supposed to capture, you know, Bayeux, which is near Juno Beach, near the town of of Bayeux, in there's in the British/Canadian sector. But the attacks were going very bad for the British, mainly because of their Field Marshal Sir Bernard Law Montgomery. I mean, which a lot of his, you know, strategies came into question, which had caused, you know, hot controversy in the Allied command. I mean, it may have worked very well for him during the Desert War, when he let, you know, the Desert Rats, but in Italy and in Normandy in France, it really came to question. Like, was, you know, Montgomery, because yeah, Montgomery was about to be sacked, because he was close to because yes, Sir Bernard Law Montgomery was close to being sacked. Yeah, after some of his assaults had failed, especially when especially around Caen, which the British were supposed to capture on the first day, which nearly took almost a month to capture. Yes. Now on the German side, which much of the forces of France was under command of their leader, Field Marshal Karl von Rundstedt, who was Commander-in-Chief West, which comprised of many divisions. Of course, you also had Panzer Group West, which their headquarters was stationed near Paris. And you also had, you know, Army Group B, which was under commander of Field Marshal Erwin Rommel. Of course, in the Normandy sector, you had a part of, in the Omaha Beach was defended by elements of the German 352nd Division, which was mainly made up of you know, recruits who were, you know, too old or mentally unfit, or, you know, a lot of things, you know. Of course, you did have some Asian minorities that fought in the 352nd, mainly Koreans. Some Japanese did fight in Normandy as well. So I'll throw that out there. Yeah. And around Caen were the 12th SS Hitler-Jugend Division, which was commanded by Kurt Meyer. And he also had parts of the 21st Panzer Division as well. Even though 21st Panzer first actually fought during the Desert War, and was, you know, returned back to France to be rebuilt just in time for Normandy. I mean, in the Gold Beach part, which was other elements of 352nd Division, of course, majority of the 352nd Division was near Omaha Beach. Okay. Of course, British intelligence, you know, had in an area near Caen, that there was 3 divisions. There were 3 German divisions, all mainly Wehrmacht formations, but there were in fact 5. 2 of them SS, which the first SS, which was first stationed in Belgium, you know, during the battles that raged around Caen. And of course, and you know, and there was one, you know, famous, you know, tank ace who actually fought on the Eastern Front before he came to, you know, Normandy. During that one battle in Villers-Bocage, when the British were ran out of Villers-Bocage. Yes, Michael Wittmann. I mean, of course, he first, you know, became a very famous tank ace basically on the Eastern Front before he came to the Western Front. Especially during Barbarossa. I mean, it's when Michael Wittmann had gained a lot of notoriety. I mean, especially during the Battle of Kursk in July 1943, when he had a Tiger tank and was, yeah, basically destroying T-34s. Yeah, while, yeah, just basically, moving while shooting, which he did that tactic pretty well. I mean, of course, many British were surprised by, even though they managed to disable Whitman's tank, but Whitman was able to get away. I mean, he did a great surprise attack against many Cromwell tanks. Basically, waited while it was they stopped sometime in Vilavacaj, and Vilavacaj, it's box country, because of the hedgerows of, basically it was a maze of, hedgerows. I mean, of course, with, adjacent farmlands and whatnot, which was impervious to tanks, which that applies to all tanks that enters that, tortuous maze. So yeah, which Shermans were no match for Panther, because, Shermans, or Cromwell tanks entering into a maze, which the place was perfect ambushes for the Germans, which they used Panthers or Tigers, because, the Shermans were no match for the Panther or the Tiger tank, because the Tiger tank has a 88mm gun. I mean, this was a famous, famous victory when they ran the Germans out of, when they ran the British out of Vilavacaj, when a lot of their tanks were getting destroyed by Michael Wittmann and some Tiger tanks as well. Even though Wittmann managed to get away and finally get a new tank, though. Even though he was defeated on the 8th of August 1944 by, I think, a Sherman Easy 8. Yeah. However, in the American sectors, the Americans were doing very well than the British, and that was a worrying sign. Because, like I said, Montgomery was getting close to being stocked, especially sometime in July or 1944. Yeah, it was sometime around July 1944 when they finally captured Caen. So. Yeah, even though the battle for the city had raged for over a month. In the U.S. sector, and near the first week after landing in Normandy, they finally captured the town of Cherbourg. And then near Argenton, near Carentan, I should say. Of course, on the German side, you also had the 5th Panzer Army as well as 7th Army. Of course, then you had a new formed, division called the Panzer Group Eberbach. So, yeah, under their commander, Hans Eberbach. That's when the situation in Normandy was going to get serious for the Germans, mainly because of Allied air power, Allied superiority over the skies, which the Luftwaffe had surrendered to that. I mean, German tactics were very superior compared to it's not because they can move forces from one immediate danger to the next and do it quickly. So, yeah. But then sometime on the 17th of July, that's when Rommel's staff car was strafed by by a Spitfire, which he was injured, which You know, he wasn't killed, but he was injured. So. And this was 3 days before the July 20 plot. The plot to assassinate the Fuhrer. Even though then sometime in July, later on near the end of July 1944, which when Field Marshal Berger Rundstedt was dismissed near the end of the month and was replaced by Field Marshal Gunther Hans von Kluge. After there was a phone call between von Rundstedt and Field Marshal Keitel about Hitler's stupid orders and stuff, and then of course Keitel asks von Rundstedt, what should we do? To which von Rundstedt famously retorted, "End the war, you idiots," which led to him getting dismissed in late July 1944 and replaced by Gunther Hans von Kluge as Commander-in-Chief West. I mean, by this time, Gunther Hans von Kluge, became extremely pessimistic about Germany's chances in the war. I mean, of course, at the time, he knew that he realized that Hitler's strategy meant the destruction of the army. I mean, because like I said, Kluge was extremely pessimistic, about Germany's chances in the war, which he would never discover is his prognosis was correct, which he was relieved of his duties on the 17th of August, and was ordered by Hitler back to Germany. I guess for failing to warn Hitler about the July 20 plot. And then, while on the way, on the 19th of August, 1944, Kluge committed suicide in the town of Metz in northeastern France. So this is before they started to close the ring at Falaise. Before the pocket in Falaise was Staffstedt, I think, on the 21st of August. However, on the 15th of August was Operation Dragoon, the invasion of southern France by the U.S. 7th Army and some parts of the French, and of course some French forces as well. That was pulled out of Italy. Even though the southern France was lightly defended by the Germans, mainly by the German 19th Army. I mean, which they tried to trap the Germans near Montélimar, but the Germans escaped. They tried again at the town of Grenoble, but the German retreat was too rapid. Of course, Operation Cobra, which the Americans was able to take Avranches and near to the Brittany Plains in Normandy. Yeah, basically it was running from Coutances to Caen at one point, and then I started to break out, and which was under the 6th Army Group, which was mainly the U.S. 7th Army and of course the French troops as well, mainly Free French Forces, which was the 6th Army Group. They linked up with the 12th Army Group, and basically we're about to encircle the German 7th Army, the 5th Panzer Army, and of course the Panzer Group Eberbach near Falaise. Yeah, which the British Canadians were going to go to Falaise, while the 12th and 6th Army Group were going to go to Argentan, and basically trapped it. Even though the Germans decided to retreat, I mean, some remnants of the 7th Army was able to get away, and were pushed all the way to the German border. Yeah, near the Siegfried Line or the West Wall. And of course, now the situation in Paris, which Paris was under the control of General Dietrich von Cottich, who was appointed military governor of Paris in August 1944. When the underground French resistance heard of the Western Allies were approaching, they began to. That's when the underground French resistance began to revolt against the Germans. When some of the French forces heard of the Paris uprising, they refused to bypass the city and enter in, which they entered in the evening of the 24th of August 1944. It was by the time on 25th, like 75% of Paris was under Allied control. Of course, unable to keep the city, in Axis hands, Hitler gave a order to Cottich that the city should not fall into Allied hands, except as a field of ruins. To which some famous structures would be destroyed, like the Eiffel Tower and of course the Notre Dame, which Cottich, horrified by such a futile demand, had decided that Hitler had gone completely insane and disobeyed that order, thus saving Paris from destruction. Which is why he got the name Savior of Paris. Even though the war wasn't over in France, some parts of France were still under German control, which didn't get got until sometime in 1945. Like mostly near the Lorraine region was still under German control at the time. And of course, some ports near the Atlantic Wall had surrendered, except for the port of Lorient, which remained in German hands up until the end of the war. Yeah, which the ports of Brest, Saint-Nazaire, and of course the Estradier de Gironde all had surrendered, except for the port of Lorient, which remained except for Lorient, which remained in German hands until the end of the war. Of course, Dunkirk almost remained in German hands all the way up to the end of the war as well. So yeah, I thought I'd give you a thing about that. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, I'm out. Peace out, Stephen with Gary Knights.